with the COSAFA.
Good initiative by La Liga, giving these youngsters an opportunity just to taste the atmosphere. We know that most of these players watch La Liga, most of them wanting to play in Spain, so this is a perfect opportunity for them that is presenting themselves.
Now here's the usher of the moment. The man who's in charge of this match is yet to start again. That is Atto Adriano Alfina. He hasn't issued cards yet. He's issued a card. Now he's just waiting to be instructed, as in when can they kick off this second half. Do you then think South Africa will start again on a front foot, or Zambia will be the team to dominate like they did in the first 10 minutes of this match? They put pressure on South Africa and they were able to score in the first 2 minutes of the match.
Stand by for 10 seconds. 10, 9,
no,
8.
we just a few seconds away from kicking it off, with teams just eager to score one another. Can Mzansi Amachimbos get themselves scoring a goal here? Now starting on a front foot already. They were in the opponent's box. That's the man Charles Mumba. You know, Charles Mumba reminds me of Elias Belembe with the tape on the wrist. Ball with Richard N'gambi. N'gambi finds Teddy Khumalo, who is now seeing himself in the opponent's half for the first time, or should we say second or third time of this match. But normally he's forever up there whipping those crosses, not getting room that much. Well, remain live on your COSAFA TV and social media. We stay COSAFA under-17, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. We are there. Now, side switch coming from Charles Mumba to find Richard N'gambi, who drives it in, and Charles Mumba trying to take a shot, but nicely blocked by Liama Dopolo to get Enrico Erasmus grabbing it comfortably so.
Indeed, I guess Zambia applying the first half strategy, attacking South Africa in the early stages just to unsettle them. I guess now South Africa, they need to maintain their discipline, be organized, and not allow Zambia plenty of space or allowing them to attack them.
You are saying that they must maintain, just like the Zambian side has maintained the same squad that won 2 games before, bringing back 7 to 8 players back into play and resting the likes of Charles Ndlovu, who started the previous encounter, and Frank Shilesh, one of the players who also started the previous match. And we saw the Aaron Piris in the center of the park given those chances to perhaps prove themselves more than enough.
I guess the Zambian coach has found the winning combination, his right formula. He knows where to play the boys, and he actually does inspire confidence in the Zambian side.
Now it's all about preserving the minutes. The likes of Akanyile Norowana on the left back side being solid that much, and Elindogu Mbuto in the center of the park being one of the players you would always find should an opponent come guns blazing. Now a ball played short by the Zambian side, but taken away from a chance. Or now a shot taken, strike, good touch coming from Enrico Erasmus. He was up for a task. Oh, alertness coming from Enrico Erasmus Buitumelo. Should we say this is the first time I see him alert? Teddy Khumalo, one of the players who scored a long-range shot in the previous match when they won that game. But Enrico Erasmus, a strong arm, strong hand.
That was a 3,000-volt strike struck by Teddy, but the keeper this time equally to the test and pulling the save.
Now a good corner put in, but cleared by South Africa from danger zone. There's no voltage there that Buitumelo has highlighted in this in this match. Well, you have to understand that my colleague is the third eye raven, he used to call himself, and now he comes up with a voltage. Phew.
Well,
Yeah, colleague.
one player that I'm actually disappointed in today is actually Rickson N'gambi. We know that he's a skillful player with great technical prowess and has the ability to outmaneuver opponents with sublime, quick and deft touches, but we haven't seen any of that today.
Well, if you're not given room, how are you going to do it if the likes of Sanel's Kosana have such a wonderful first touch to lay to Mduduzi Shabalala, who was just trying to get himself on the run. Unfortunate for him. You can't run. You know, when they say Christmas is not every day, this is what they mean. Now, my principal will be able to discipline his opponent, like he had said that it's all about strategies. And the other coach said it's all about hard work and dedication, and presence of mind will result into us emerging victorious. Now, Kiviano Francis is dropping too deep to try and block Lombe Mutale. Now, Francis on the move as well, trying to lay it for his teammate who was late with the run. That is Noroana.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure if you have noticed how Zambia is structured when they're actually on the offensive. They actually play a high liner, leaving two defenders at the back, but in the middle of the park they play a 4-diamond-2 system, making it easy for those triangular passes and the movement of the ball.
Now, ball with Charlie Mumba going for a strike with his weaker foot. Nicely blocked by Mbuto there. No, Bitumelo, that was a good point you've raised. You've actually identified. Adding numbers is what they want. Any second ball, there's a Zambian player contesting for it. So all they want is attack, attack, attack. They do not want to sit back.
Now South Africa should be vigilant and clever in the sense that they need to play long ball behind the defense, banking on the pace of Francis as well as Shabalala to be running at the defenders, because the two center backs can sometimes be caught wanting because of the lack of the pace.
Now Elombe Mutale is on the ground there. I think there was a head collision. Well, I think he's landing rather. He came behind Mduduzi Shabalala, who was facing the ball, and Lombe Mutale may have injured himself in this instance.
Landing awkwardly, it seems as if like his shoulder.
Young man shouldn't have shoulder problems yet. Now the pain is coming from the hip bone. That is Lombe Mutale. Well, nothing a deep heat cannot fix. I wonder what the conversation is about between those two players. And look, a beautiful play, brotherhood saying, let's go, opponent. And I must just say that they share views. Maybe Julius says, hey, can you slow down, man? We are tired now. And it's like, okay, Zunzwel. Puse, ball with South African defense, played longer by Simtandile Sishi, trying to find Sanel's Kosana, who blocks Miguel Chaiwa. Putting enough pressure there. Now Eliama Topolo under pressure there, but Enrico Erasmus not comfortable enough to call for the ball coming from Eliama Topolo. Ben, who scored his first hat-trick, is yet to score again. Now Kona played outside of the 6 yards. Obviously they've got the height, so they can do that to find the likes of Rickson N'gambi, who's not seen a goal today, sitting on 2 goals, 16 years of age. He's a young star, this man, and he's got strength and character as well.
Well, Joseph Banda, he is actually one of the players which plays for Baka Academy. I can safely tell you that one of these top sides in Spain are actually keeping a close eye on him. So in the near future, we might be seeing him actually plying his trade in the La Liga.
Well, he's a promising star. Why not keep an eye on him if he doesn't remain in South Africa after this tournament as well? Because a couple of us scouts have been saying he is one of the promising. Now Saneles Kosana to find Mduduzi Shabalala, but cleared off the line by Teddy Khumalo. He must have regained his confidence now after coming from that incident in the first half that resulted into a penalty, and of course he doesn't want to put more pressure again or go hard when he is marking the likes of Mduduzi Shabalala. That's a clear pulling coming from Miguel Chaiwa, and the referee still keeps his cards in his pockets.
I can safely tell you that Miguel Chaiwa, he is one of the players who were selected, who were part of the 67 local players who were called for an assessment by Coach Micho, the national team coach, when they were actually preparing for the Chen squad. It's him as well as Joseph Banda. So you can tell that Coach Micho believes that these two players have a bright future in Zambian football.
The ball played long, but cleared by the Zambian side. Oh, you said the number is 62 players, right, Boitumelo?
67.
Oh, now, if you were to look at the Zambian league as well, you would definitely invite youngsters, because the league has very little teams. So having that number, he's probably invited pretty much 6 or 7 in each team, and then went to the development structures, the junior levels as well, to just create a balance and send a message that I am also watching you youngsters that are coming up. So giving them a touch and a feel of being part of the senior national team is a confidence booster to the youngsters. Now Zambia on the front foot to find Joseph Banda, the first man to score a hat-trick, beats Puso Diteja, and then he goes with the outer foot to whip in a cross that could have been more trouble for the South African side had they not ushered it very well. Three goals came from that one match, and the last goal he scored was against South Africa, and
they call him Neymar in Zambia, but I thought that that name Chaisa Bullet will actually suit him quite well, knowing, bearing in mind he's a very lethal player, having an eye for goal. The interesting thing is his father used to play for Profile Warriors back then during his days. The very same thing as the captain of Zambia. His father is Changa Chaiwa, who's a legend in Zambian football.
Yes, they carried on with the baton that was passed on to them. Teddy Khumalo reminds me of the likes of Felix Noche, that Teddy Khumalo puts in a cross. Well, a protest there for a foul, but the ref not up for entertaining that. I think there's a blue marker in the field of play, not sure why it's there, but ball gone wide across the frame of goal.
One analyst also likening Joseph Banda with Charles Musonda, who played in Belgium, one of the survivors in that 93 plane crash disaster. That's how highly they rate this boy, Joseph Banda.
Finding young stars that are rich with history when it comes to former footballers performing in this tournament and performing in this manner is just nothing but encouragement that they are able to prove themselves that they can play football as well. They take from their fathers, from their uncles as well. So a very interesting history right there. You have Boitumelo. Now Charles Mumba on the ball, but Mbuto says not now, not today.
Not only am I the three-eyed raven, but the encyclopedia of football.
Are you now self-proclaimed as an encyclopedia? A profile that was given to the greatest one commentators of the World of Champions, that is Sir Mark Gleeson. I think Fish is learning from the greatest, and you're on the right track, Boitumelo. Keep on keeping on.
We learn from the best, I guess.
Now, ball with Joseph Banda, tacking in with Ron, going wide to find Rickson N'gambi. Rickson N'gambi lets it off. And a good block coming from Noroana, who's been solid there on the left-hand side, just unable to find an accurate pass, with that one trying to pinpoint Kiviano Francis, who has been quiet in this second half. Hasn't seen much of the ball. Here goes the tactic again, the trick that always comes in handy for the South African side. Pretty much every game, and we've seen him going down most of the time. Now Enrique Erasmus trying to buy time for his teammates. We've seen him doing it in 3 matches that they've played, that he holds his ankle and sits down so that he gets the attention from the ref, so that his teammates can then get to have a conversation with the coach. But let's just hear what the coaches can say or share with his players.
See Coach Morena Morebudi ushering some instructions. You'll recall that he was once a coach of Maluti FET, now being the assistant to Coach Vela.
Coach is instructed that he shouldn't go inside the field. Just talk to your players from the line and don't go inside. Well, a good chance for the boys to steal a mini water break there and recoup a little bit. Now here's this man, Enrique Erasmus. In this instance, if it was the good old days and the ball was in favor of Zambia and the keeper was up, they would have played and were going to score a goal. The goal would have stood. But now rules have changed. You then wait for the ref to blow the whistle. You then wait to be instructed when you can kick the ball. A bit of a fair play that has been implemented.
Now, we've seen instances where South Africa apply a space-orientated counter-pressing strategy, where they actually concentrate at occupying all the space surrounding the ball carrier, then pressing him. But then Zambia has been using that football intelligence by rotating the ball quickly and actually sharing the ball. By doing so, they have actually put South Africa on the back foot, because in the past 5 to 10 minutes, Zambia has been on top of South Africa, putting more pressure and creating those goal-scoring opportunities.
Like you just mentioned, that they are space-orientated. They exploit those spaces when a chance avails itself. And why not if you can? Because those are your goal-scoring opportunities or chances that you get. Now, Ditejane being tested here by Banda, but Ditejane wins that ball. Now, the substitution is happening on the Zambian side. The likes of Richard Ngoma has had a fair share of his run in this match, and the coach says, "Come rest, young man, Mr. Richard Ngoma, who's played quite 2 games and put 175 minutes rather." And Christopher Musonda coming on in replacement of Richard Ngoma. Now, Boitumelo, what do you make of the first sub? But before you just allude on that, let's just check what South Africa also making a sub. So, for me, South Africa, it wasn't a number 17, a mistake from the fourth official there, but quickly rectified from the digital screen. Substituting Sanele Skosana in 18 coming out, and Yamgela Palane, one of the players who've been coming on as a sub. That is Yamgela Palane, just to add a bit of pace on the side.
The man who comes from Mapletown in Ekurhuleni, I'm sure his coach Chaiwa will be actually impressed with him coming in this time around.
Well, ball played in, but nothing to trouble Enrique Erasmus. Good defending by the South African defense, that is Nkoskona Nkosi and Liema Dopolo. Now Kiviano Francis trying to get himself into the box, nicely ushered out by the young Zambian side, Ricky Chanda, who walked away with man of the match on the previous encounter, that is against this very same South Africa. Now Banda against Puso. Puso tries to win that one, but the strength of Banda and just not going down that easily. Banda wins that ball, but what can Puso say after this is that I've ushered you out, I've guided you out of danger. You go back to your own half. The ball played long to find Rickson N'gambi. Now strength coming from Simtandile Sishi, who was able to sustain until the 65th minute of this match, having that hamstring strapped so much. Oh no. Now Khumalo just attacks the grass there with his weaker foot, trying to take a shot at goal. Now we know that Shabalala can sometimes make mistakes, but now a strike blocked by Liema Dopolo. They go wide to find Mr. Banda, who is up against Puso Ditejana, who's stood his ground and making sure that he doesn't give room that easily. The ball laid down for Zambia, but cleared to Banda's chest, and he's quickly recovering. Kiviano Francis adding with the assist there with the marking and making sure that Joseph Banda doesn't have much room to penetrate from the side.
Seems as if it's difficult for the Zambian side to unlock the South African defense. Hence Zambia now opting to play those long range strikes, and they know that the keeper is not the best there in the post, so them just trying to test the goalkeeper Enrique Erasmus.
Mostly Enrique Erasmus has been quiet in this match, or he has been very vocal with his teammates. And I say quiet, I'm referring to him not saving much of goals or not tested enough. Now ball strike coming from Zambian side, but unable to make that proper connection. Julius Kamwenda, man in the center of the park, who's pretty much active, pretty much partnering with Dominic Kanda. And if the players has been gone down, that is Mtuduzi Shabalala, who's scored 2 goals already in this tournament, is seeing there covering his face and holding his ankle there, just waiting for the physios and the doctors to come and assess him. Here's that man, Tati, who comes on as a sub most of the time and just changes the pace of the game. That is Tati. Well, you'd want to add one player who is offensively and defensively smart, and a player who's also creative, that is Tati Mkenso. Oh, apologies there, that is number 13, that is Mkenso Mkiba. And Sipesike Tati is number 17, who came in the previous match, and he was able to switch play, he was able to dominate, he was able to pinpoint his passes. Now number 13 for South Africa is Mkenso Mkiba, who just got instructions from the coach that this is what you need to do. If you're a South African coach, which substitutions would you rather prefer?
Kiviano Francis hasn't given us much options. He has been lackluster, and he hasn't actually provided the quality of runs that he usually does. So he is one player that I would sacrifice and maybe put in some fresh legs. Today just has not been his day.
Same as this man, that is number 14 of South African side. That is Tejane, who's just been strength for the team. Well, the number of corners are sitting on 5 in favor of Zambia and South Africa, having 2 corners. Now, you see the Zambian side sending the troops there to go and attack, but a missed header there, diving header coming from Miguel Chaiwa, and a ball watching coming from Liama Topolo. Simtandile Sishi saying, we need to be alert, gents, we need to be aware of the ball, let's clear anything that is in front of us. I've talked to everyone and in their own box to try and defend this corner kick, a second attempt for the Zambian side to try and punish the South African defense. Corner coming from Joseph Banda, whipping it far wide and out swinger. Now good number of players there trying to clear, and Sishi unable to clear very well there, with a limp of course coming from Sishi, and Mduduzi Shabalala putting so much pressure and pressing. Now too many players in the box, unable to identify their opponents and just have a one-on-one. Now Miguel Chaiwa on the ball, whooping in a cross. But in this instance, if you look at Simtandile Sishi would have to sit down and just try and request for medical assistance. Well, it's a water break, so Mduduzi, that is Tabang Mahlangu, won't be coming back after the water break. Oh, you've had a fair run, young man. You've scored a goal and in your opening match, and now you score a penalty. Mikenzo Mkiba coming on to add in the center of the park, Buitumelo, I believe.
Well, in such a high game with high stakes, I'm not quite sure you'd want to sit back and defend, but maybe the coach has noted that Zambia coming to them. Let's add more numbers there in the middle of the park just to stifle the midfield of Zambia, and then maybe we'll have a player like Mduduzi Shabalala who will be playing as a false 9, making those runs as time goes by.
Now temperatures are sitting on 21 degrees at this point in time, and the Zambian side are not affected by it, but they are affected by the fact that they reach the final third, but they can't seem to convert their chances. They can't seem to score the goals that they want. A number of players are a bit frustrated. The likes of Charles Mumba, Joseph Banda, and of course Rickson N'gambi has drifted to the side to try and just collect those balls from his teammates or coming from the side.
Well, you have to comment the kinetic change strategy that the Zambian side has applied. The team has been able to cut off space, and how they're able to move as a coordinated unit when out of possession is something which they've done quite well throughout the game.
That's why they say teamwork makes the dream work. We move in unity. Hence their national anthem says it, and it speaks of unity.
Defending as a unit and attacking as a pack.
That's the best strategy you could ever have. Now Mbuto on the ball. A push there coming from Dominic Ganda, but saying it wasn't that harsh, ref.
Again, a clumsy tackle in the middle of the park by Dominic Kanda. He's been very solid, bulldozing and cutting off the supplies, especially of Tabang Mahlangu. But when you look at the fouls being committed, it seems as if like they're the most dirty side in this second half.
I haven't seen much. If you look at the run coming from Sishi, just making sure that he doesn't stretch his leg that much. Now a chance for Zambian side, but it went off away from the frame of goal. But the technique was there, the idea was there. Julius Kumwenda. Oh, it looks like South African side have been lacking in the center of the park. If the likes of Julius and Dominic Kanda are able to combine touches, are able to kill balls. Having goal attempts rising and rising on the Zambian side, sitting on 7. And South Africa still sitting on 3 goal attempts. Should be a worrying factor for the Mzansi team. The ball played towards Enrique Erasmus, but a shot not to bother him that much. Easily picked up by him and finding Puso Di Tejane. Now, seems like an advantage has been given here. Now, ball with Joseph Banda. Good players coming from South Africa, but not really winning the ball like they should. And Kiviano Francis will be sitting up front, allowing him to do the Shabalala, who we've barely seen him making or lasting until the 90th minute. But this time around, the coach says, "You go all out, young man. It's the last game, so we cannot preserve you any further than that. You need to soldier on. You are alone."
Initially, I thought that Shabalala would be the one player playing as a false nine, but it seems as if like Kiviano Francis, he's the one ushered to be the one, be the focal player, be the one who would be pacey and making those runs up front. And when I look Palani, he's now playing more on the left as a winger.
Now, having Kiviano Francis played 270 minutes of the tournament, that is pretty much every game. But the young man is still standing, still putting pressure, still got some minutes on his legs. I can tell you, he's one for the future, one player to look out for. Apologies coming from Ricky Chanda. Ball with South African Akanyile Norowana, but being called to take a few steps back. You are advancing too much, say Norowana. Now ball played long towards Kiviano Francis, who was unable to guide it in or make contact with it and try to go at the defenders of the Zambian side, the young Chipolo Polo. Ball intercepted and finds Charlie Mumba, who turns to look for the one and only Joseph Banda. Now ball with Dominic Kanda, who plays Ricky Chanda. Blocked there by South African side, but still advancing Zambia going forward, finding Dominic Kanda. Cleared away by Liama Dopolo. Combination of passes not coming right for both sides. Seems to be 1 or 2 or somebody not being able to pass it properly. Now here's this man, got into the box. Now Puso Di Tejane, 100% must be given to him. He's given Joseph Banda the run for his money. He's kept him in his pocket, Buitumelo.
True indeed, he is one player that has actually not given Banda plenty of space. But I've noted something in the middle of the park of Zambia. Dominic Kanda, he's the metronome player in this Zambian side. He's the one making Zambia to tick, playing and spraying those passes. He's also one player that I can say has been one of the consistent in this tournament.
Do you perhaps attach voltages to him as well, or all is good?
He's a razzle dazzle in the middle of the park, a marvel to watch.
Buitumelo, back to the game, my colleague Charlie Mumba finds Julius Kumwenda, and Kumwenda goes wide to find another teammate who's just been making necessary runs. That is Christopher Musonda. Now ball played in but denied the necessary run. That is your prolific player Kanda. Now coach will be up on his feet and not wanting to go for penalties is only fair, because he's been also trying to just catch Zambia at a break or on a break. It's just unable to happen for him. Now Dopolo launches long, trying to find Kiviano Francis.
Coming to compare the preparation done by both teams. With South Africa, they were together only for 2 weeks, but as for the Zambian side, because the pandemic hasn't affected them much, they've been playing at the junior levels ever since. Hence, that's why these boys, they were together since the 7th of October, and I'm gathering that since from then, each and every week, they were playing at least two friendlies, played against Blazers FC, Luanda Youth Academy, and Baka Academy. But now, as for the South African side, they didn't actually get a chance to prepare in terms of getting a game before the tournament. So you can tell Zambia has been on song, but South Africa, they actually started to pick up momentum late.
Now strike coming from rather a desperate strike coming from Joseph Banda, and the main man that has marked him and kept him at bay is sitting on the ground just seeking that medical assistance of some sort. Buso Ditejane, he's a player who the coach will look and say, young man, I am proud of what you did today. You've played a vital role. The lethal man, the danger man, that was Joseph Banda, was kept at bay. You kept him in your pocket for the longest time, and you did exceptionally well. And coming to Mr. George Chilufya, the man who's also tactically smart, the man who's also assembled a squad that he spent a good month with them. Now Efronaha sitting on the bench there, and having him who started the previous game, but today he is sitting outside alongside his colleague Innocent Mailula.
Mind you, Mutlogeleng, about 5 or 6 players of this Zambian side were actually part of the team that traveled with the under-15 side that went to play in the Croatia Invitational Tournament. So at least these boys now, they're getting exposure, they've been together, and hence that's why you can tell them the rhythm, the momentum has been on tops.
Like we had said earlier on, that unity is what Zambia live by, and they are a living proof. Now a mistake that Kiviano Francis profits from, but does he have the numbers on the box? That is Kiviano up against Julius Kumwenda, forced to turn back, but a quick comeback or recovery from Dominic Kanda to dispossess him and play it to Teddy Khumalo, who's been very quiet in the second half of this match, who's one of the players also has been forced to sit back. Now Norwana on the back there, Norwana on the money, lays it for his teammate who's going into the box. Can he cut it back? But a good block coming from the defense of Zambia, that is Ricky Ichanda, just not giving room for that run. Now ball played short, nicely laid by Mduduzi Shabalala, but nothing was alerted to the teammates, and Mduduzi Shabalala just putting his hands and saying, yeah, you could have just came in earlier. Yamgela Palane, one of the players who were on the back, they're trying to cut back that cross.
One player that we might see him feature in the MTC for Amazulu, Palani, coming from the capable hands of Power Twala. I usually know him playing more centrally, but today the coach having to use him on the flanks.
fouled Duduzi Shabalala by that man Dominic Kanda, saying the man is not strong enough.
Okay, Shabalala causing all sorts of problems for the Zambian side. And I guess the only way how to frustrate him is to be bringing him down like this. Hence, that's why we haven't seen much action that we saw him in the first half. He hasn't been able to cut inside, dropping a shoulder, and creating those goal-scoring opportunities.
Now, with 6 minutes remaining on the clock, Boitumelo, and you are the coach of South Africa, you just want to wrap up this game in 90 minutes. Because should the 90 minutes elapse and the time added, we then go straight to penalties. Now, set piece played floatingly so by South Africa, but they do not have the height to compete for these high balls. So rather play them short, something from the training ground maybe. Now, the ball is Yamkela Palane, but Dispossess and Julius Kamwenda trying to catch them on the counter. Now Mbuto finds Shabalala again. Shabalala and Mbuto. Now Shabalala goes wide to find that man Miguel Chaiwa, left-footed player. He tucks it and he drops the shoulder with an attempt to take a shot, but Kiviano Francis was open far wide. Could have maybe dropped it for him or just drill it towards him, force him to tap it in, Boitumelo.
What $1 million pass there by Shabalala. Good run made by Mikando, but unfortunately, maybe his vision was at the post. He saw himself being the hero for today, being selfish in that instance.
Now, this man might be down, but a man who is strapped, having a scaffold there coming from that man Charles Mumba, but the strength and the attitude that I am not going down, I am not going out without a fight. Yes, in the previous encounter I was fouled so many times, but I had to come out. But this time around I take all the pain. I'll deal with it at the hotel, I'll deal with it and the plane going home. Now, Panda on the bike here, 2v1 Panda colliding intentionally with that man who just wallops with a drop of a shoulder. That is Puso Ditejane. Yamgela Palane. Can he release the ball on time? And he finds the solid passer accuracy. Finds Shabalala, but Shabalala lays it for this man Mikenso, who was just too far, or his run was a bit slow, and Puso Ditejane unable to read the pass coming from Lidogutle Mbuto. Now this is an opportunity for Rickson N'gambi, covered by Puso Ditejane, but cleared by Norowana. Now I must say, South Africa are playing dirty. They are risking a lot. Now just giving room to the Zambian side to attack to get more chances and more chances and more chances. Eventually one is going to give.
The Zambian side, the goals attempt, the 10 for Zambia and 4 for South Africa. But I've noticed that with Zambia, they're demonstrating numerical superiority. Every time when the South African player gets a ball, you should take note, they are always in the back foot. Zambia attacks. In fact, they always find themselves in a 3v2 situation where the Zambian side outnumbers the South African players.
Must know that Boitumelo Zambian side have got the pace in the center there. The Julius Kamwenda able to cover Charlie Mumba, and the likes of Christopher Musonda also have came on to solidify that move. And Rickson N'gambi always putting pressure and drifting to the side to try and help Joseph Panda to tack in. But this man, the Puso Ditejane, has been up for the task throughout the game. Solid marking there, coming from that lucky number 20, Yamgela Palane. Mbuto on the ball, he finds Shabalala. Ball played to Nkosi. Now, if you read this game, Boitumelo, you will then understand that now a good roll for Kiviano Francis, and this could be a penalty, but the ref says, get up, young man, get up, young man. It's not a penalty. Must have been a moment of excitement there for the South African side, but this man says, we cannot give you a penalty, says Adriano Alfina. And 89 minutes on the clock have gone by, and we yet to see or hear what is the additional time in this match. With Teddy Khumalo, we've seen a cross and tries to find Rickson N'gambi. A ball cleared by Yamgela Palane, who has the ball to find Shabalala. And Shabalala trying to whip in a skill or two there. And Teddy Khumalo committing a foul. Now Butumelo read this pass.
A good needle hospital pass there, but was there contact? Maybe just a little touch there. In fact, he skipped that tackle, but
I think the knees collided with each other, and of all fairness, there was no intent to commit a foul there, but the player came from behind, and he then forced himself on another player, should we say that. Now 90 minutes have gone by, and the assistant ref, rather the fourth official, says 4 minutes will be sufficient for you guys to try and redeem yourselves and maybe get a goal and not go to penalties, because you've had a fair race, a fair run in the tournament, and your task now is to just convert one chance that you get, and the rest will be on me as a ref. Joseph Panda, last minute react to this one sometimes, and we know South Africa suffered a defeat from him. Now Teddy Khumalo also has pushed high to play with Joseph Panda, who is a very tricky player on the ball. Now also Ditejane just able to keep Panda at bay. Throwing played wrong to find Charlie Mumba, and a bicycle kick that must say it's been a great second half, just unable to score. Both sides just unable to score there. Norwana trying to be all smart with the pass. What is required now from the players is just concentration, and alertness must be galore. They need to maintain this draw should they want to go on penalties. Do not give away unnecessary fouls. Oh, South African side was sitting deep, just sending a player or two to go in and mark and just keep shape and preserve some energy. Now Banda, forever calm and collected, this young man, and he knows what he needs to do, he knows what he does. And Dominic Kanda going over to try and find Julius Kamwenda.
As we are heading for penalties, the main question is, did these boys practice? Did they have a penalty session practice? Did the coach actually elect the correct players who will be taking the first and the last penalty? Because we know those are the two most important penalties during a shootout.
I think right now this young man has had a fair race, and the first time we see him down, and intentional foul, frustration coming from Charles Mumba to foul that man Puso Ditejane, who's had a very good game, and Charles Mumba just frustrated and not a happy man at all.
Indeed, not a happy man at all. What a quality player, composure, confidence on the ball. He's that one player that I can say displayed a world-class performance, having to shackle down Banda and not give him plenty of spaces. He's one player that stood out for me in the South African side.
Now, youngster who just felt the contact or the pain coming from Charlie Mumba. We had to, in the South African side, have a player that is standing outside ready to come on in this remaining seconds of this match. Obviously, I think the ref will also look to adding 2 minutes of the match, and that is number 9, Unati Khatebe, one of the players who's played maybe, let's just say, a number of minutes that really are sufficient. That is 113 minutes coming on as a sub. So we basically say 2 games. Switch of play coming from Mduduzi Shabalala, going on the other side to find Yamgela Palane. Now, really a frustrated Charles Mumba. Well, the ref says it is over, young man. It all goes down to penalties.